In the early rounds of your fantasy football draft, you're going to see a lot of running backs flying off the board. To make it more confusing, different sites will have different rankings. Who do you take? We're going to do the work for you. These are the only running backs you should be taking in the first few rounds.
If you can't wait to start drafting fantasy football teams, you don't have to. Underdog Fantasy has drafts going on all offseason with tons of unique and fun formats. Not to mention their flagship Best Ball Mania 5, where one lucky winner will become a millionaire. Plus, they already have pick'em lines ready for week 1 of the NFL season and their new streak format where you can win 1,000 times your entry. Just go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up using promo code ENDGAME to get a special pick'em that you can't get anywhere else, plus up to $250 in bonus cash.
Let's start with the biggest site, ESPN. According to their current ADP, the running backs that are going in round 1 are Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, and Saquon Barkley. All right, so if you're drafting in ESPN round 1, which running backs do you feel comfortable taking?
I mean, I think Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, and Bijan Robinson are locks in the first round. These guys have the upside to literally win you a fantasy championship this year, so no problem taking any of those guys. Very shocked to see Saquon Barkley in the first round. I mean, I like Saquon this year, but I'd like him when I can get him in the second round, not the first round. I don't know if he's going to have the upside in this Eagles offense to be a first rounder. So for me, it's the first 3. I can't do it with Saquon in the first round.
I'm with you there. You're not going to see Barkley round 1, any of the other platforms we're going to talk about, and that's for good reason. Look, Barkley, of course, still one of the most talented running backs and one of the most talented offenses and most productive offenses. But how many touchdowns is he going to score with Jalen Hurts there? I love Barkley, but I don't love him in round 1. Now, round 1 of Yahoo drafts, you're going to see a lot of similar players, CMC, Breece Hall, and Bijan, but then JT, that's right, Jonathan Taylor's a first round pick instead of Barkley. Do you think that Taylor could be a first rounder?
I think he can be if it's very late. Like if I'm picking at the 11 or the 12 and I really want to go running back, then sure. But if he's going in the top 10 picks, I don't know. That feels a little too high for me. But if it's at the very end of the first round, I'll take Jonathan Taylor, definitely.
Look, assuming it's a PPR or even half PPR league, I think this is too many running backs. I like those first 3. Even JT, as much as I said, I love taking him, but that's because I can get him usually early in round 2. It's a little too soon for me. And then on Sleeper, where we know we do our mocks and our endgame leagues, well, you probably already know this if you watch us. CMC, Breece Hall, Bijan, and Jahmyr Gibbs is a first rounder. You still on board with that?
I'm on board with Gibbs in the first round. I think he has everything you're looking for in a first round running back. He's got that explosiveness. He's in a great offense behind one of the best offensive lines. And he's probably going to catch 60 plus, maybe even 70 plus passes this year, which in PPR is a cheat code. So yes, I will take Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round.
You know, after all the mocks we've done and as this offseason has gone on, I'm still very much on the fence about this. I can see it, but I usually find myself, if I'm like 11 or 12 at the end of the first round, I usually just go receiver. So I'm okay with Gibbs here, but it's not a 100% slam dunk for me. All right, now on ESPN, if you get to round 2, it is full of running back options. These are guys that currently are being taken in round 2. Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, and Travis Etienne. All right. Who makes the cut there for you?
Well, I mean, already said Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm fine with them in the first round. So definitely them in the second round, no problem at all. I think Kyron Williams still a great value in the second round. I think he's going to be the absolute workhorse running back for the Rams. Derrick Henry, we're calling him a league winner, so I got to be good with him in the second round. Shocked to see Pacheco going this high, but this is actually where I think he should be going. So sure, I'll pull the trigger here. The only one I'm not is Travis Etienne. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this. I just think Travis Etienne will be good in fantasy this year. Not great, not worth the second round pick. And look, we're starting to hear more rumblings that they want to get Bigsby, other guys more involved. So I prefer Etienne a round later than this.
Yeah, I'm definitely not putting Etienne in round 2. And I'm honestly getting nervous about that Jags offense in general. So I'm not even sure about round 3. But anyways, I like the first 4. You know, I love Derrick Henry even in round 2. I'm okay with it. I can't go for Pacheco this soon. He's a great player, but it's still such a pass-heavy offense. So I prefer him a little later. Round 2 of Yahoo, we see Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, Isaiah Pacheco again, Josh Jacobs, and Travis Etienne. Even more running backs. Who do you like here? And what does Jacobs belong here?
Yeah, so we talked about all these guys already on ESPN. I feel the same way. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, we talked about him, ESPN in round 1. I like him here in round 2. So I like all these guys in round 2. I already said not Travis Etienne. And I got to be honest, not Josh Jacobs in round 2 either. I like Josh Jacobs this year. I think Josh Jacobs will be good. But it's the Packers. They're going to use a committee. He's not going to be a true workhorse. So again, prefer Josh Jacobs around later.
Yeah, I'd love to get Gibbs or Barkley in round 2. Very happy with Henry or Kyron. Sorry, but Pacheco, Etienne, and definitely Jacobs don't belong here for me. And you notice on Sleeper, far less heavy on RBs. We see Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, and Devon Achane now in round 2.
Yeah, so we've talked about these guys. Don't need to go over them again. Let us just talk about Achane because he's a new guy here. Round 2, if it's like the very end of round 2, like the 2-3 turn, which sometimes you can get him there. So even if you start a Christian McCaffrey, I'm okay taking him at the 2-3 turn and just going 2 RBs early and then just punting RB for a long time. But if it's like middle of the second round, that's too early for me for Achane.
Yeah, I've been saying it most of the preseason. And look, even from an obvious diehard Dolphins fan, it's too soon. This is going to be a committee. I know he's got that week winning upside, but I need more reliable touches. It's also a very small running back who already has had injuries in his rookie season. It's just too risky too soon for me.
Do you want to win your fantasy league but don't have time to do all the research? Are you tired of drafting mediocre teams and then having to constantly hope you hit it big on the waiver wire just to compete? Do you wish you could have a fantasy expert like Pierre or myself with you while you draft? Well, now you can. With our app Draft Lane and our live draft pilot, we will guide you through every pick of your draft and tell you exactly which players we would pick if we were on the clock. Our proprietary algorithm will take into account your league settings, scoring, and roster requirements to identify the best picks every time you are on the clock to ensure you have a winning team from week 1. It's the closest thing you can get to having us there drafting with you. Get the biggest edge in fantasy football. Just go to your app store and search for Draft Lane and download it today and get ready to dominate your draft.
All right, back to ESPN. In round 3, we see Devon Achane, Joe Mixon, James Cook, and Alvin Kamara. Do these guys belong in round 3?
Well, Achane does. I just talked about it. If he's at the 2-3 turn, I'll gladly take him. So anywhere in round 3, I feel very comfortable taking Achane. The rest of them, not so much. Look, I like James Cook, but not in the 3rd round. I also like Mixon, although now we got to be worried about the hamstring. But again, not in the 3rd round. And even Kamara, like 3rd round Kamara just feels way too early. So for me, it's Achane or wide receiver or maybe tight end in round 3.
I mentioned the risk on Achane, but I know if you don't get him in round 3, you're not getting him at all. I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. James Cook, yeah, I mean, I really like Cook, but I don't think you need to take him in round 3, to be honest, and we'll see he goes later in other platforms. Mixon and Kamara, what are these guys doing this soon? Get him out of here. And then on Yahoo, here he is again. Round 3, we see Joe Mixon, Devon Achane, and now Rachaad White. Does Rachaad White belong in this conversation?
No. Very borderline here. I do like White. I still think White will be the workhorse. I'm not too worried about Bucky Irving, but does he have the upside I'm looking for in round 3? I don't think so. This just feels like a floor pick, so gonna have to say no to my boy Rachaad White in round 3.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. More of a floor pick at running back. You're just better off taking a wide receiver who's still a high-end wide receiver at this point. You can probably get a comparable running back a round or 2 later. Now on Sleeper, we see in round 3 some running backs that were already off the board in ESPN and Yahoo. We see Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Isaiah Pacheco. How do you feel about that?
I mean, look, you get Derrick Henry in round 3, you got to smash it. I think Isaiah Pacheco is, I liked him in round 2. I'm definitely taking him in round 3. And this is where I feel comfortable with Josh Jacobs. No, I don't think he's going to be a true workhorse, but he's going to be the clear number 1 in a good offense. I'll take Josh Jacobs in round 3.
Yeah, just seeing the differences across these platforms, it's staggering sometimes. I would love getting Derrick Henry in round 3. I still don't want Josh Jacobs. Sorry, too soon for me. And I think I'm okay with Pacheco here now. Now in the 4th round, let's get to ESPN again. We see Rachaad White, Josh Jacobs, and finally Kenneth Walker. What do you think about Walker this soon?
Yeah, so, well, first let me say, because I didn't take Rachaad White in the 3rd, I think 4th round Rachaad White is great. This is where he should be going. Obviously, I like Josh Jacobs in round 4. I took him in round 3 last time. Again, this feels too soon for Kenneth Walker. This just feels like I need a running back, so let me just get Kenneth Walker. He's fine. Like, sure, Kenneth Walker is going to have a couple weeks where he scores a touchdown or 2, but he's also going to have many weeks where he doesn't, and you're going to left wanting a lot more. I think there's more upside here. I mean, even a QB's in this range or tight ends in this range, so Yeah, Kenneth Walker, no.
Yeah, maybe just because we draft so much on sleeper, just not used to this, but it's too soon for Kenneth Walker. Guy doesn't catch enough passes. He's gonna split some time with Charbonnet. I love Kenneth Walker, but not in round four. Rashad White, this is where he belongs. Josh Jacobs, not my favorite RB in round four, but this is probably an appropriate value. And now in Yahoo, we'll see another new name. We got David Montgomery in round four, along with James Cook, Kenneth Walker, and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, so I already said no to Kenneth Walker in the fourth round. I think this is also fair value for James Cook now. Said no to him earlier, but fourth round, I feel comfortable with him. Alvin Kamara said no earlier. I still feel like this is too early, and I feel like this is way too early for David Montgomery in the fourth round. I know we're gonna get the comments. 13 touchdowns last year. Great. If you play your fantasy football league using 2023 strats, go for it. David Montgomery in the fourth round. But I don't think he's going to get 13 touchdowns this year. I think he's going to lose touches to Jahmyr Gibbs. We know he's not catching any passes. He had 16 all of last year. So, again, I just feel like this is a floor play, and it's fourth round, not doing it.
Yeah, if you're assuming this is a standard or non PPR league, Monty begins to make more sense here, but it's still too soon. Kenneth Walker does make more sense, but again, I think it's still too soon. And then James Cook, I do like in round four. I think, really in any format, as far as he goes, he can catch passes, he can also score touchdowns. I like Cook in round four. He's the only one I'm targeting here. And then on sleeper, we see only three running backs taken typically in round four. It is James Cook, Rashad White, and Joe Mixon. Who's your favorite here, and who are you just ignoring?
Yeah, well, we already talked about Rashad White, James Cook. Fine with them in the fourth round here. I think that's where they belong. I still feel like this is a little early for Joe Mixon because even though he's in a great offense and he's probably going to be the guy, he's up there in age, and I don't think he's going to catch as many passes as he did in Cincinnati. So, again, prefer Mixon around later.
I'll just come out and say I prefer not drafting Joe Mixon. I just think he's a landmine waiting to happen. But if I am starting with three receivers, then my first running back right here, round four, could be either Cook or White, preferably Cook. To me, this is the perfect time to start drafting running backs if you go that direction. We're staying on top of all the latest news and trends for you, including training camp. You want to know who's rising, maybe skyrocketing up draft boards? Well, we got that for you right here.